because I will admit there's a small hole in it right here on the shoulder because, again, it's old. I guess I could sew it up, but I haven't. But on days that it matters. But I felt like I wore the jersey to the game the other day, and that was a win. So I probably should have kept the jersey on today.
How superstitious are you?
I'm like Michael Scott. I'm a little stitious.
Little stitious?
Yeah.
See, I'm not a.
I can't. I mean, look. Is what Jay Phillips wears on game day going to influence 11 soccer players and their coach 3,000 miles away?
Yeah. But if U.S. Soccer would lose, I don't think you're going to see the players and the coaching staff at the presser go, we directly blame our poor play on Jay Phillips' choice of
I hope
shirt.
they don't. I hope they don't.
No.
But I've been flipping between this shirt and the jersey, and I do wash them, as far as you know.
Allegedly.
As far as you know. So there's that.
Well, no, if you're going by luck, you can't wash them till they lose.
Yeah, but you know what? I can't do that.
Yeah, I've never been that guy.
Well, things start to. I mean, I'm a clean person. I shower every day and I wear deodorant and use soap, but still, things can start to.
Things can, man.
You get right pretty quick, especially in this town.
I've never been down that road. I'm wearing the same pair of underwear every day because things are going great.
Lord,
no.
You might be able to tempt me into wearing the same pair of underwear every day, but I'm going to wash it every day.
Absolutely.
Which is wasting a lot of water and detergent, but I'm like, sure, I'll wear the same pair every day.
Yeah, the whole turn it inside out thing doesn't really work.
I guess I got to walk around in a towel for an hour while I wait for it to get on. All right, that's enough of that. Enough of that. We got too many. Now we're getting into Dave territory. We don't need that. Gamecock basketball's home and away slate has been announced. 18 games in the regular season, home and homes with Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi State. According to the release from the university, the Gamecocks, and I'll read it verbatim here, have had the toughest net average schedule in each of the last two seasons. Now that's the net ranking. That's not like net, like small NET. That's the capital NET, the net ranking. Each of the last two seasons. The KenPom average schedule was fourth the last 2 years, trailing only Kentucky, who does, Kentucky, of course, has a harder schedule because they play a bunch of good non-cons.
They play really good non-cons.
Yeah.
Yes.
So South Carolina's home games this season. And we don't know dates and times yet. We just know opponents and obviously venues, either home or at the other guy's gym. Home slate is Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, State, Ole Miss, A&M, and Texas. South Carolina will travel to Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Missouri, State, that's Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. That's a pretty tough road slate, man.
Yeah, it is. That is a tough road slate.
Going to Florida, Georgia is better under Coach White. Kentucky's Kentucky. LSU's going to be better. Missouri was better. State, good. Oklahoma, we'll see. Tennessee, good. Vandy, pretty good last year. That's a tough road slate, man. And then Bama coming here. Auburn, well, I don't know what Auburn's going to be yet. Mississippi, I don't know about them. A&M, they're looking new. Texas, tough out. I mean, everything's somewhat difficult, but I think the road slate is pretty tough, which makes the home slate, you would think, hope maybe a little more manageable. Am I right in saying Carolina went to Arkansas and won last year? Wasn't that one of their wins?
Yeah, because they lost to them in the tournament, right?
Yeah.
They went to Arkansas.
They went to Arkansas and won.
That game was crazy. They got that big lead, and they just rolled them.
Yeah. That was last season, right? I think it was last season.
It becomes a blur, but I know that Lamont has been pretty successful against Cal. Let me double check.
Now, look, hang on. I've got the schedule pulled up right here. At Arkansas. Oh, no.
That was 2
years ago. Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, last year they got whooped. That's right.
Yeah.
Last year
I shouldn't have asked.
That was a whooping last year.
South Carolina lost by 34.
I think it was 2 years ago here.
I remember they won a game at Arkansas, but it's again sometimes they
let's see here.
Carolina's conference wins last year were LSU in Baton Rouge.
No, it was in Baton Rouge. That's right.
Yeah, BYU beat Oklahoma here.
That was the home win, yeah.
Lost here. That game, they shouldn't have lost that LSU game here.
No.
And that went to overtime.
Remember, it went to overtime,
Yeah,
right.
that was
should have
bad.
won that game.
Beat Mississippi State here. Beat Mississippi here, and that was it.
Yeah.
And in a lot of these games, South Carolina was not competitive.
No.
In fact, in most of the games, South Carolina was not competitive.
All right, 2 years ago.
A couple of them were downright ugly.
All right.
Anyway,
last year.
so hopefully that changes, and we'll talk to Jordan about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, we hope. Look, again, I think the roster is better than last year's roster. We'll see how much better, because last time I checked, everybody in the SEC tried to get better.
Well, that's the thing, is that you're not doing this in a vacuum, and that should be something, with all due respect, that is a bit of a concern.
2 years ago here, beat Arkansas by 19.
Okay.
That's a game we're thinking of.
I was thinking of a game there, too, though. But maybe it was just longer ago than I remember, man. Again, sometimes
It's all running together, dude.
I'm
You're
old,
okay.
You know, I thought I paid for it.
Yeah.
Like
Well, then,
Uncle
and
Leo.
again, last year, the year they went to the tournament, they also beat Arkansas.
Yeah.
And they whooped them.
Yeah.
You know, Lamont, isn't it kooky? John Calipari's a Hall of Fame head coach.
Yeah.
All the success. Lamont has done well against Cal.
Yeah.
Whether it's Arkansas, Kentucky, he's done well against Cal.
Well, keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Yeah,
it
we
up.
like that. So, yeah, we'll see. Look, I still am concerned about the point guard position. You didn't go get a true point. You're going to ask Mincy, who's kind of a combo guard, to be the point. And so there's a concern there. I think they're much better in the front court than last year. I think they got better shooting than they did last year. Hopefully, defensively, because defensively, it was just not good.
Yeah.
I think it's a better team on paper. How much better, if you want to stack them in the SEC right now, off the top of my head, you probably wouldn't have them in the top half. You probably have them somewhere between 12 and 16.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that South Carolina will be picked lower than 12th.
I think they'll be between 14 and 16 to me is where they're going to get.
I mean, it was not going, and again, this isn't.
I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah, they might be picked last because that's just how media votes go.
And how good
until
the
you
league
prove
is.
otherwise.
Right. I mean, remember the year they made the NCAA tournament, finished third in the SEC. Remember where they were picked? Lamont was mad.
Yeah.
They were picked so low.
Yeah.
They were picked near the bottom. So
Jordan Kay was with Lamont yesterday, and we'll get his take on this. Again, to ask Jordan as well, how much, what's the feeling around expectations and how much they need to change, should change for Carolina men's basketball. We'll do that and more. Does the roster, as Terry said, look a whole lot better? They spent money on it. Lamont made mention of that. We'll get into all those things around Carolina men's basketball. Jordan Kay of the State Paper coming up.
So we discussed just how good the folks at CHW Cabinetry are, whether it's the installation of whatever job you're looking for, the transparency of photorealistic renderings, and we say that and you go, yeah, Terry, yeah, whatever, pictures. No, I mean, when you're getting a job done, there's different stages, right? And each stage is its own thing. And sometimes when a job goes sideways, if you got photorealistic renderings, you're seeing what's happening. Why is it good here, good here, good here, and what happened here? Or here, we're going to show you, here's where it's progressing, look where it's going, it's good, 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 good. Either way, the photorealistic renderings are so important because it's the transparency and the trust and the confidence that CHW Cabinetry in what they do and who they are. 803-520-6837. Again, 803-520-6837. Just give them a ring, CHW Cabinetry.
3:33 Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. Time to talk more Gamecock hoops. We've been doing that a little bit the last couple of days. Lamont Paris holding a summertime press conference, kind of putting a 5 point on the roster for the coming year. Gamecocks announcing last week that they're headed back down to the Bahamas for a little preseason tour and kind of get to know one another. I guess everybody, as we bring in Jordan Kay, is wearing name tags, right, Jordan? Hi, my name is, when it comes to Carolina basketball.
I know you look at the roster, a lot of guys without pictures. It kind of says everything.
Kind of give us your impression of look, I mean, coaches will say the right things in press conference settings, especially summertime where there's still a long way to go before the team convenes once the school year begins. But is there a feeling from your perspective, having covered the ball club for a few years now and this coach for a few years, that there is a higher level of confidence knowing full well that the last couple of seasons have been downright bad?
Yeah, 100%. I think just because there's more talent on this team than there has been the last 2 years, aside from, having Colin Murray-Boyles 2 years ago. Just the talent all across this team, the experience is far, far greater than it was last year. And that's kind of without even knowing exactly what you're getting from the three international guys. I think you look at Cam Heide, who's played in a ton of NCAA tournament games, was there last year with Texas, good sharpshooter. Davion Hanna, that was a guy, I think Alabama wanted to keep him, and he ended up going to the portal. Didn't do a ton as a freshman, but, I think that's a really good sign when a team wants to keep someone and doesn't just say, yeah, of course, go to the portal. And then the big man from Wisconsin had a really good freshman year. Obviously, size last year was something South Carolina was lacking, but, those are three guys who were all over 6'6", and so just adding to that size that South Carolina just got destroyed against last season.
Jordan Kay hanging with us from the state. Now, Jordan, you did volunteer to be a special student manager for the trip to the Bahamas, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Water boy, snorkel instructor, whatever we got.
Unfortunately for Jordan, like Brendan Sorsby, application denied.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, when we look at this team, and you're right, I mean, they've fortified a front court that was, and to say lacking is being kind from last year.
Yeah.
The point guard position, I know they like Corey Mincy, and they think he can be their guy. I mean, he's never been a true point. He's been more of a combo. The point guard position still kind of is my number one concern here, Jordan. What are your thoughts, and what's Lamont say when you look at this backcourt? Is he talking about Mincy? I know Marcus Johnson, the freshman's name, came up yesterday. Give us your thoughts on the backcourt.
Yeah, I think it's probably, the two guys to look at. Obviously, Mincy, I would say, is probably the favorite right now. And, Marcus Johnson coming in as a true freshman, have to really kind of think if he has a good summer, good fall, that he could be right in contention there or at, minimum get playing time. So I think that's an upgrade from where they were last year. I mean, obviously they didn't have a true point guard in any sense last season. I think they tried Michi there. The year before it was even worse. And so, at least they have options this season, but, I think we're, after the last 2 years, kind of in a wait-and-see mode of okay, who exactly is out there and how good are they? So I don't know that anything is definitive right now, but certainly at least they have two solid options.
Jordan, we saw the home and away slate for conference play. We know NC State will be Carolina's ACC, SEC challenge. Obviously, there'll be a game with Clemson. Any further insight on the finalizing of the non-con schedule for Carolina?
I think it's a little better than they've had the last couple years. I mean, last year I guess they played Butler and Northwestern, two losses, but having NC State, I guess we'll kind of see without the Will Wade thing. I guess they played them last year, but I think that was one thing. I think 3 years ago they really just did not have a great non-conference slate, and it didn't matter because they just kind of rolled through it. They were able to kind of get better as it went on, and then when they got in conference play, obviously had that really good season. And since then, it's not like Lamont Paris stacks the non-conference, but I do think this year is going to be a little tougher than it has been the last couple.
Two things. To your point, Jordan, I just went to the South Carolina athletic website. There's only 3 pictures.
Yeah.
Guess which 3 they are, Jay?
I'm assuming the guys that came back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Grant Polk, Eli Sparkman, Hayden Simeon.
Yeah.
Jordan, real quick, Jay and I were kind of batting this around in the opening riff of the show. Expectation level for this team. A lot of money has been invested, more than ever, not just with the roster, but the coaching staff as well. What in your mind is the realistic expectation this upcoming season? Because obviously this is a very important season for Lamont Paris in South Carolina.
It has to be a tournament appearance. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think that has to be the minimum if you're an SEC basketball team. And, you know, the money they've put into this team, by all accounts, it's at least the double digits, you know, probably could be double of what they spent last year. Then you talk about the money they poured into this coaching staff, not only adding another coach, but, you know, really beefing up the assistants, getting Bob Donowald Jr., who's been a massive force in getting those 3 international guys. The investment is there, and you've got to make the tournament. I think, you know, I don't know if I think Lamont Paris is on the hot seat going into this season, and anything short of an NCAA tournament, you know, that's going to make his seat very, very hot. You know, I think there was even questions after last year, do you bring him back? And the answer, it seems like, from Jeremiah Donati is, hey, we didn't give him enough, you know, resources to be able to win. And so they gave him enough resources this year. They have the talent to back it up. And it, you know, I think that has to be kind of the goal for this team, is make the NCAA tournament.
You could probably do a much longer feature on this as a whole, but to that last point you made about Jeremiah, how much of that from one year to the next for him, Jeremiah being on the job, was an assessment not only of the programs on campus, but maybe looking around the league and realizing South Carolina was so far behind?
Yeah, I mean, he did that right when he got to South Carolina. I mean, we had reported that, you know, 2 years ago the NIL budget for men's basketball was under $2 million, and that was the lowest in the SEC. You know, from what I had heard last year, they basically tripled it and got just above $6 million. And, you know, I think there was thought that, hey, we're going to be right in the mix of this. And, you know, they probably had money set aside, too, if Colin Murray-Boyles was going to come back. So, you know, you triple your NIL budget, and you're thinking, okay, wow, we're going to be right there now. But everyone else also tripled their NIL budget.
Right.
So, you know, I think most schools were spending 10, and it became pretty clear pretty quickly that, like, oh my gosh, like, South Carolina just does not have the talent to compete in the SEC. And so what I think South Carolina then had to do is say, okay, now we've got to even go crazier again just to catch up to every other school. And so I think last year was kind of the realization of, hey, even though we beefed up our NIL, we're still not able to compete resource-wise with these teams. And now I think they're at the point of saying, okay, now we're in the mix. Now we're getting to compete with every other SEC team. And I think that's kind of what leads Lamont to say the stuff of, hey, you know, we were able to be the highest bidder for every guy we brought in. I don't think that's Lamont trying to brag. I think that's him being excited of, like, hey, now we can finally compete. Like, now we are on par with everyone else, and now there's no more excuses.
To that point, Jordan came from the state newspaper, hanging out with us, talking Gamecocks men's basketball. When he said that, what was the first thought that went through your head as a guy sitting there in the media at a presser, and he says, hey, we were the highest bidder on everybody? What went through your mind when he said that first thing?
I was a little surprised he said it, but I didn't think it was that crazy. I don't fault it. You know, I think that's probably something you don't say publicly, but I also don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. And some of the people on Twitter thinking that that's just outrageous, I think is wild. He didn't say, hey, we're spending $22 million. We have the highest NIL budget in the country. He didn't say we were the highest bidder for every single person we tried to go after. It was just, hey, you know, to get the players, to get guys, we had to pay the most amount of money. I think if you ask, you know, any coach in the country, I would say most of them probably are in the same boat. I think today's recruiting is, hey, whoever has the most amount of money is probably going to get the kid. So, you know, I think saying it out loud is one thing, but I don't think any of it was preposterous at all. And I think it shows his excitement more than anything. I don't think this was him trying to brag or say anything. And of course, if the season goes bad, that quote's going to be used against him. And I'm sure opposing fans, especially from Clemson, are going to have a field day with that over the next couple of weeks and months. But to me, I didn't think it was crazy. I think it was him probably saying the quiet part out loud. And more so than anything, just being like fired up that they were able to be in that position to be the highest bidder. That's like I think for him, an exciting thing rather than like spilling the beans on something secretive.
Yeah, and administrative support being shown too. I got less than a minute for you real quick here. And to go back to the tournament or bust kind of aspect of this, with 76 schools now in this thing, I mean, heck, a couple years ago you had 14 of the 16 make it in a 68-team field. That can really only intensify that pressure, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think kind of South Carolina is in that spot now where it's, hey, just get into the tournament. You know, there's probably other schools and other coaches on the hot seat where getting into the tournament is no longer going to be enough, and you're going to have to start advancing a little bit or not being in the play-in to be able to keep your job safe. But South Carolina, I think, even with the expanded field, hey, just get in. That's a good start.
Good stuff as always, sir. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You bet. That's Jordan Kay of the State Paper, thestate.com.
I don't know what I just did.
I'll give you his Twitter address later.
Do it later. Okay. I don't know.
We'll be right
Let's
back.
Let's just go to the break.
Computer's haunted. 11 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome back in. Thanks again to Jordan Kay for joining us. Since the computer so brusquely and rudely cut me off, again, catch Jordan's.
That thing just started out of nowhere, Jay Phillips.
Catch Jordan's work at thestate.com, or you follow him on Twitter, Jordan K with an E, Jordan K, K-A-Y-E, _
Stupid computer.
23.
So it's funny.
I'll blame the computer.
I had my finger on it, right? And I'm just like, click. And I was like, what the hell did I do that for?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was trying to save you the embarrassment, but if you
Oh, dude, I'll own it. Trust me.
you want to take it,
I'll own it, man. I'm okay with that.
I do. I don't think Jordan's. Look, it's his opinion that it's sort of a tournament or bust. I don't think that's a bad way to look at it. I don't know that that's how Jeremiah Donati is going to feel about this, but it's one reason, because as he brought that up and you talked about expectations, and then I thought to myself real quick, let me throw this in, because again, there's going to be 8 more teams that are going to be in the at-large field, and you do anticipate that they will be power conference schools, because that's basically what happened, right? I mean, again, that's so. And I guess it was last season or two. I guess it was last season, right? They had 14 schools make it.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
14. Only 2. Unfortunately, one was South Carolina.
And the other was LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago. But
Yep.
last year was still, what, 12 or 13 maybe?
Still got a bunch in last year. And
So, does the whole league need to feel that way now? Is it,
I think it depends, right? Like first-year coaches always get a little bit of runway, right? But if you're a coach that's been around for a minute or two, I think the expectation is you got to get to the tournament. Now, what you do in the tournament, that's different. It's like Kentucky, just getting the tournament doesn't matter.
Right.
But like in South Carolina, getting the tournament this year, yes, that would matter. You and I were saying, okay, you got to at least be on the bubble. But we always talk about how do you get to your record, right? How do you win? How do you lose? If you're on the bubble and you've got some good wins, maybe that's enough to keep you. If you just kind of meander through it, you win kind of what you should, you lose what you should, you win, so you don't really have any wow moments or wow wins, and you don't make the tournament, and the fan base is like, yeah, that might move you along. But I think you, at the very least, Jay, to be in the conversation, to come back, you better be on the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, but let's look here. I mean, you lost conference games last year by 12. I'm going in order. 12, 5, 34, 4, 23. Oh, my God. 37. Jesus. 5 points in overtime. 9 points. 19 points. 14 points. 14 points. That's 2 in a row. 9 points. 19 points. 19 points. And you lost by 12 in the tournament. So, I mean, in the bulk of your games
that were under 9 points.
Yeah, in the bulk of your games, you got beat.
You weren't competitive.
Yeah, you got beat.
And so let's just say you do have a better season. Maybe you're hovering around the bubble, but you took a lot of whoopings. You might not come back.
Yeah, I think that, again, that comes back to, that's why I ask that question about sports a lot. Tell me, how'd you lose? And in looking at last year, and Jordan hit on it too, and I know we did a lot during the season, this roster was not able to compete. Look, most games. Now, there's a couple they should have won. Again, you should have beaten LSU here. You probably should have beaten, you should have beaten Virginia Tech here when you took, because I think you had a lead in that one, and then they got a chance to go to overtime. And a couple that you maybe let slip away.
Yep.
But you just can't get beat.
You cannot look like you're not competitive.
Yeah.
That can't happen this coming up season. If it does, then we know where it'll end up. You got to be competitive. And maybe it is get the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe that's as simple as.
Well, I mean, Jeremiah may say, "Listen, I'm giving you all this, but you got."
Well, I think with Jeremiah and a little bit we're seeing is, we're going to give you everything we can to make you successful, but you better be successful.
Right.
We're ramping up resources. We're ramping up expectations.
Right.
All right, real quick. On this day, 1997, this guy, a power forward, was the first pick in the NBA draft by the San Antonio Spurs.
Tim Duncan.
Yep. And I'll give you one more. On this day in 2008, this guy, power forward from Oklahoma, first pick overall by the LA Clippers.
Blake Griffin.
You're rolling 2 for 2.
Well, if you hadn't have said, when you say the school or the team, well, you said from Oklahoma. You didn't say Wake Forest.
No. You nailed it.
You said Spurs.
See, I knew if I said Wake Forest, it was Spurs, yeah. Now, if I'd have said
either one you would have said, I would have gotten.
That's what I mean on that. Now, Blake Griffin.
Blake went to Oklahoma City?
Who?
Blake Griffin. Who did he get drafted
No, he
by?
was drafted by the Clippers.
Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I might not have gotten that one, to be honest with you.
If I would have left out Oklahoma?
Yeah.
All right.
I might not have. I might. It might have taken me because it's the Clippers.
That's a good
I've been like, I don't know. It's the Clippers. Hour 2 coming up.
Look, if you're a guy and you just don't, you feel about life, whether it's you can't remember stuff like you used to, you're not as strong at the gym, you don't bounce back from exercise, you're sore, achy a lot, you don't sleep like you used to, your zest for life in every room isn't what it used to be. Well, you can sit around and be upset or be annoyed, be scared, be paranoid, be angry, or you can do something about it. I'm going B. Call the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS. Set up a free consultation. Go tell them your story. They'll do a testosterone test on you, and they will set up a program specifically designed for you and your needs to get you back to being you again. Again, 803-875-MENS. Make that call, Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Get back to being you again.
All right, 4 o'clock on a Thursday. Welcome back in. Hour 2 of the Postgame Show coming at you. Alongside Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. We're downtown in the Herndon Chevy Studios. That's downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Wherever you are, thank you for taking time out of your afternoon to be with us. Appreciate Jordan Kay talking a little Carolina hoops in the first hour. Got a lot to get to in this hour, including some new NCAA rule changes, not just the eligibility rule. They did make a statement on that because, again, there's already a lawsuit lined up. But they made a statement on that. But there are other rule changes, a couple of them that I like. I like a lot of these. And I think the other two that we'll talk about, other three, rather, that we'll talk about, Terry, I'm going to go out on a limb, man. You ready for this? And I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm saying it with a smile, but I'm serious. I don't think they're going to get sued.
You don't think?
I don't think so.
Sure?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not sure. Because, in today's world, but I don't think they'll get sued over these.
You know?
I don't.
You sure?
Man,
and look, they barely got the eligibility one out of their mouth, and the lawyers were
it was ready to go
in court.
It was ready to go. Because the lawyers knew it was coming.
They knew.
Yeah, they knew it was coming.
Well,
because it was supposed to happen. We said it yesterday. It was supposed to happen in April, and they're like, yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more because they love to discuss things in committee. It's like in Star Wars when Han Solo says that to Princess Leia, like, I don't have time to discuss this in a committee. I am not a committee. Well, the NCAA does have time to discuss it in committee, and then some. Again, sometimes glacial pace is fast.
Yes.
At the NCAA.
Oh, the sloth at motor vehicles?
Yes. Yeah.
Could be the NCAA.
Yeah, Zootopia. I can't wait to go do the Zootopia 3D movie, by the way. The old Bugs Life movie at Disney World is now a Zootopia
Are you serious?
attraction. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So that should be fun.
That should be very cool.
I need to get down to Disney World.
I love the sloth from Zootopia.
Yeah, he's great. And I'm sure he is going to play a part in that because, it's just too funny. Anyway, I'm not going to say, I'll let you say it, and you can pat me on the back on this one.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I'll be over there.
But the other day we had a poll question, and I came up with this, but it was basically, hey, as this Protect College Sports Act starts to gain any kind of traction, should the Big Ten and the SEC ramp up talk of any kind of Super League, or at bare minimum, if we don't want to use the term Super League because they don't like that. At least, and when I say they, even the two conferences, forget about what Congress is trying to say. But at least realignment, right? Okay. Today, the great Ross Dellinger, basically in so many words, said that that's exactly, Terry Ford, what is happening. He says, it as conference realignment, but really it's the art of increasing one's value by closely associating with more premium properties. For instance, Texas moved into the same neighborhood as Alabama and Georgia. Southern Cal is now sharing a street with Ohio State and Michigan. Conference realignment is as consistent of a concept within college athletics as football coaching changes. So prevalent over the last decade or more, a sort of motto has emerged, quote, conference realignment never sleeps. Basically, he's saying that, yes, those that run this operation are absolutely already talking about getting out ahead of the curve.
Well, we had this conversation the other day of, look, if you're smart, look, anything can happen. We learned that from this whole thing with Sorsby in the courts, right?
Right.
Like, really? Seriously? How many tequila shots did you have, Judge? Yeah. But it's just the idea that anything can happen. So if you're the SEC and the Big Ten, there is no doubt you better have had these conversations, because if your goal is to continue to expand and maybe one day break off to a 50, 64, whatever you're thinking about entity for football, you better get it in a row just in case Congress stumbles and bumbles its way into maybe putting a bill close to being a real thing. You got to, Jay.
Yeah, Ross writes, again, this is Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports. He says, now, given the bill's anti-expansion provision, those discussions have accelerated, according to several officials with knowledge of the talks. Are they accelerating to a place of imminent action? No. But, he says, the bill would apply immediately on the date in which the president signs, freezing conference membership for an indeterminate amount of time. It creates a quasi-deadline now on realignment. And this is a quote that I absolutely love, Terry Ford. Ross talked to a Power 4 athletic director who said, quote, it has put a shot clock on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what Congress did, or just the conversations of this bill. Because now you better get it done, because, again, just in case a miracle happens and this thing gets through the House, which neither one of us think it will.
Not in its current form.
But you better be ready, and you better, whatever you were thinking about doing when you were sitting around, having cognacs at your meetings, now you got to get serious just in case.
Well, here's the thing, and I one of the reasons, and I said this when we were talking about this a couple of days ago when I threw the poll question out on Monday, and I said it to you when you came back on Tuesday, is how much of something like this would be sort of a shot across the bow from the big conferences, and that's why I threw out who's being most watched on television and things like that, where the money is really coming from, and I do think some of that is at play here. So once again, let me read from Ross's piece. Reached for comment about the provision's impact on schools like Washington State, a spokesperson for Senator Maria Cantwell, who was the co-author, suggested possible changes. Quote, there will be conversations with more members in both chambers as this bill progresses forward, and there may be some modifications. Now, you may say, well, Jay, Washington State's no longer in a power league, but that's just it. This bill wouldn't just preclude the formation of larger conferences or preclude the movement of schools within those leagues, because let's face it, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Texas Tech, they want to move up. But Washington State wants back in.
They want back in.
Oregon State wants back in.
They had a taste, man. They were part of this.
And then you've got your, a few other select ones, Terry. I mean, Cincinnati and Houston found their way back in, right? SMU found their way in. Memphis wants in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even East Carolina.
There are
San Diego State.
San Diego State definitely, because you have a market there that is a top 20 TV market in San Diego.
Big alumni base. It's a big school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big school. Look at Boise State. I mean, some of these schools will want in, and some of them are draws. And, again, I know this sounds like a weird way to put it, but if this bill were to lock the door, I want to remind these senators, the door's locked on both sides.
That's the point. Right.
And I don't think they've thought about that.
No, they're trying to, again, not...
I can't get out, but you can't get in.
And the other point of this is, what you're trying to do is you're trying to change the fundamental aspect of collegiate athletics, which is, this ain't an even playing field, Chief. It never has been, and it never will be. You can't make it the NFL. You can't make it the NBA. It's different in the idea. There's always going to be haves. There's always going to be have-nots. There are things you can change. You can get CBAs. You can get a lot of things. But that fundamental premise is not going to change, because the people that have all the money don't want it to change.
Right. And, to go back to a point that Ross made, because I think, and look, if you're of a certain age, if you're young right now, this latest wave is only your first one. So now, Terry and I can play old dude here. Mm-hmm. I mean, in my lifetime now, again, I don't remember South Carolina being in the ACC. I was in diapers when they left, okay? Right. So I don't remember that, but my parents and grandparents do. But the point I make is this. Since I have been alive, South Carolina's been in 3 conferences. Now, they were an independent. There was no Metro Conference football.
Right.
Although Carolina did play Florida State and Virginia Tech on a regular basis. They didn't play a lot of the other schools. But a lot of those schools did play one another, even if there was no conference football. But South Carolina's been in the ACC, the Metro Conference, and now, of course, the Southeastern Conference. Georgia Tech was an independent for a long time and joined the ACC. Mm-hmm. And you look now, and that's just small examples. All those schools that were in the old Metro found their way somewhere along the way, right?
Right.
I mean, the American Conference was kind of created out of the old Metro.
What was left, right?
Yeah. Because Carolina found a home, and Virginia Tech found a home, and Florida State found a home, and they're maybe the biggest brands, and Louisville, I guess. But anyway, there's always been some movement. Just of late, I think it's been accelerated for a lot of reasons. But
I think to your point there, though, but it was always like the Metro. Okay, it's a cute little league. Okay, this league, that league. But when you start screwing with the big dogs, we lost a big dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's when this thing goes, whoa, wait a minute. Because it's one thing to, the Metro. It's another thing, the American Association. Oh, yeah, the Sun Belt, whatever. When a iconic conference, it's been around for decades and decades.
100 years.
Falls into the ocean.
Yeah.
Then you go, okay, wait a minute. We gotta figure this thing out. So that, I think, and then when we talk about the nonsense of Stanford and the ACC.
Yes.
Well, unless
this freezes Stanford and California to remain, minutes from the Pacific Ocean in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know names and geography don't mean anything,
Nobody cares
but it's still kind of silly.
But it is silly for travel, for regional logic.
And again, I don't think they've thought about all that.
No, and I think that when you're trying to stop the expansion because you're trying to stop these super leagues and all these other things, and you want the money to be more fair, all that stuff, and trying to level the playing fields, what you're doing in some ways is, what's that saying, bass backwards?
Yes.
In some ways, because you're not understanding.
That's always one of my mom's favorites.
Oh, yeah, my aunt, my Aunt Athalie loved that one,
Yeah.
and that's a real name.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing to your point.
My mom didn't cuss, man.
Yeah. My Aunt Athalie did. But anyway,
no,
so
my mom didn't cuss,
it's just one of those things that you've got to.
But I do.
Mom, listen to this. So it's just the idea, again, Congress, I said this to you the other day, Congress is playing in a sandbox they know nothing about.
Right.
They truly don't understand what college athletics
Cody
is.
Campbell has gotten to Ted Cruz and told him that Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and Michigan are evil.
Yeah, and we have to stop
And
that.
Texas.
We have to stop them all.
And we can. They must be stopped.
Right.
And nobody thought to tell Ms. Cantwell, Washington State got screwed.
Yeah.
Nobody thought to say Memphis, which is a really big school and good at sports, is now shut out. Nobody thought to tell them, so you're telling California and Stanford they will remain far apart. You're telling the Arizonas you're still in a conference with Central Florida.
Right. And so at the end of the day, not understanding your subject matter is a huge problem with this bill. And unless everybody's going to sit back and, I don't know, maybe learn a thing or two about what they're dealing with, this thing is not going to make it. But again, on that small little premise, Jay, that they do take a step back and tweak some things to make both sides of the aisle happy, if you're the Big Ten and the SEC, you got to be proactive now. And you got to start like Ross Dellinger said, the quote from one of the Power 4 people, now there's a clock.
Yeah.
Now it's time.
That later it's a long piece that Ross wrote today. He says, either way, in terms of what may happen in terms of some of the legislation, he says the anti-expansion provision has caught the attention of a great many people. The section also seems to prohibit, quote, an independent institution from joining any league earning at least $700 million in revenue. So they're basically looking at Notre Dame and going, yeah, you can't do anything either. Again, you can't do that. But he said, I'll leave it with this. He says, one thing is clear, realignment conversations are accelerating because of provisions in the bill. As suggested by Miami President Joe Echeverria during a recent interview with WQAM radio, quote, we as a university are playing for the next contract, not the one we're in. So however the realignments occur, whatever may occur, we are going to be invited where the leading one is. They won't leave us out. So there's Miami's president already telling you, I ain't worried about right now.
No.
But you're not going to tell me what I can do in 5 years. Right. I'm going where I'm taking us to the big time. And they're into big time. But
let me say this, we're up again. You know what? Let's come back because I want to go to what you just said.
Okay. We got that. We got NCAA. We got further NCAA rule changes. And again, y'all, unlike the eligibility one, I don't think these other ones are going to get them sued. So, yay.
You're a silly man.
Yay.
Look at you over there.
Look at them. They're doing stuff. You're listening to the Postgame Show. So we have our AAA phone lines here. AAA has their phone line, and you need to keep this number handy because it's getting ready to get hot. 803-677-1500. That's the number to call. AAA Heating and Air. If you are a little uncomfortable in these coming days when feels like temps are going to hit triple digits, call AAA. Not getting cold, call AAA. Time for a new system because the one you have is loud and clunky and inefficient and costing you too much money. Call AAA Heating and Air. They can hook you up with a fantastic deal. Roy and Dana Finley love taking care of their customers. They can get you guaranteed financing, a $1,500 system buyback rebate. So, boom, right off the top. How about that? And a 15-year parts and labor guarantee. We absolutely love what the AAA has done for us in our home to keep us nice and comfortable all year. I guarantee you that you will too. 803-677-1500. Stay nice and cool with AAA Heating and Air. Nineteen minutes after 4 o'clock, Thursday. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. World Cup action has started up again this afternoon. 2 games at once in Group E. Ivory Coast leads Curacao 1-0, and Germany and Ecuador both scoring very early. Germany scored like the second minute, and Ecuador scored about 5 minutes later, 1-1 in that one. Germany's playing all right, man.
They're not bad at the soccer thing.
No, but they've been underwhelming the last couple of World Cups.
Yeah, as good.
They
as
won
much
it all.
talent as they have.
Yeah, they won it all in 14, and then they didn't get out of the group stage in 18 or 22. They have already gotten out of the group stage for this one. America plays tonight.
The German fan base is quite understanding of the last 8 years.
Yeah, I had, I was a little surprised. I don't want to say, my children rarely disappoint me. But 2 of my daughters today asked me if I was going to stay up for the whole match because it doesn't kick until 10.
Right.
And I was like I was almost a little offended. I was like,
me?
Yes. I was like, they're like, really? I was like, it's a World Cup game and America's playing. Like, it's a World Cup game. And they were like, yeah, but it doesn't. One was like, yeah, but America's already advanced. And I was like, no. It's a World Cup game. You only get so many of these. So, yes, I will be. So,
let me remind you again that this is the biggest tournament in the world.
It's this is not some friendly whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about it in a little bit. But, yes, I will be staying up for the entire match.
Are you going to be able? Are you going to go and take a nap so you can stay awake?
No, I'll just power through because there's too many good games on me. I'll be watching all. I'll eat some dinner. We got a good dinner planned tonight, man.
Yeah, what you got?
I got a bacon wrapped pork tenderloin that's marinating right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So what time are we having dinner?
I'll try to bring you a slice.
I'm sure you will.
If there's any left. No, it's going to be good.
Sounds good, man.
It's going to be good. So anyway, all right. So we'll get into some more of the rule changes, but you wanted to have some final thoughts.
Yeah, I want to, as we circle into this whole thing.
Again, we're talking about, for those who just tuned in, Ross Dellinger Ross clearly saw our poll question Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. And just ripped us off.
Yeah, and just decided to run with it. But no, in all seriousness, on Monday, we kind of asked amongst ourselves, does this in so many ways, this new bill in the U.S. Senate, kind of speed up talks of further realignment or consolidation of power in college sports? And Ross had a column that came out today at Yahoo Sports saying those talks have indeed accelerated at the highest levels.
So I guess the point is, like, the one way for this thing to get through is there's going to have to be changes, because it's not going to make it through the House in its form. So that's the thing I just want to come back to is, what are you going to tweak? What are you going to? I know the employee thing is big because both sides disagree.
House Republicans have already said, and again, the two leaders of the House are both from Louisiana. The Speaker of the House and the Majority Leader are both congressmen from Louisiana. They have made it abundantly clear, especially Steve Scalise, the Majority Leader. The employment thing is a non-starter. And
I bring this up because of this. All right. We bring up the Louisiana.
And the reason I say Louisiana, I don't mean to call it, but that's where LSU is.
Okay.
And they're looking out.
Let's point to Miami really quick.
Okay.
You hear the president of the school. Last time I checked, Miami's a pretty deep-pocketed private school.
It is.
That has a lot of people that have deep pockets who also have gone there.
Yes.
So Miami's in the state of Florida. Last time I checked, did they move it?
No, not. Miami's still down there.
I always want to make sure.
Yeah.
So now how many folks are in the House from Florida?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, 20-something.
So if Miami and Florida State and Central Florida and South Florida all are going to get together and let those representatives know this bill is not in our best interest. So go through the SEC states and go through the Big Ten states. And where this matters, the pressure that's going to be put upon the representatives of those states not to get this bill through because of this part of the bill.
Right.
So my point is, if you're going to go against your constituency and vote for it, well, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, I agree. 28, by the way. I wanted to make sure 28.
So that's 28. That's 28 folks who are probably going to vote against this bill if pressure is going to be put on by those universities. Which, you know what, I guess, Jay, I think there will.
Yeah, certainly. I would think a good 20 of them.
So again, that's another part of this. Is all the states that have a dog in the fight in this that matters. Like some states don't matter. Like, look, I love my hometown. Baltimore and Washington is a pro sports area.
Yeah.
They're going like this. They still play college football in Maryland? Right. It's not as important in Maryland.
I love Boomer Esiason.
Exactly. New Jersey, New York State. There are states that don't care.
Yeah.
But the states that care deeply, like almost every state in the SEC footprint, a lot of the Big Ten footprint will care. how many voting members is that? And let's say 80% of those members are going to fall in line with the schools.
Yeah. I don't know how many.
You follow where I'm going
I
with
absolutely do. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another thing we have to put into play here is the politics of politics.
Mm-hmm.
And, you want to get reelected. And to some people, this matters a lot. So you like your cushy spot in D.C.?
Yeah.
You like that?
And all politics are local and those kind of things. So,
So I just think that's another thing.
when you ask the question, what gets changed? Look, if the employment thing gets changed, then you lose a ton of Democratic support.
Yeah, exactly.
And they worked hard, Cruz and Cantwell, to get that in there. And again, this bill doesn't currently deem athletes as employees, but it allows for it. The House wants a version that does not allow for it, and I just don't see that happening. So in other words, so if you want to keep that in, what compromises are made? And I honestly, I don't know, other than to say, maybe to your point, this whole you can't move thing. Because again, Terry, and look, I don't mean to get overtly political here, and I don't know that this falls on one side of the aisle or another. I have a real problem with Congress writing a law that tells a state university or a private university, again, you can't sell your house and move.
Right.
I got a real problem with that. I don't like that. Now, again, if it comes into certain antitrust violations and you can show me those things, like, okay, but nobody ever talked about antitrust when this last big wave happened and Texas and Oklahoma came to the SEC or Southern Cal went to the Big Ten and whoever else.
This wasn't an antitrust thing at all.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden you're going to try to bring certain things up. And again, a lot of this, I'm telling y'all, I know the guy's become a villain, but I'm not alone in saying this. I've read these things, so it's not just Jay's opinion here. Cody Campbell is driving a lot of this with Ted Cruz.
Because he wants Texas Tech to be in a position of strength and not on the outside.
He wants one thing, Terry Ford, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again and again. I am far from alone in saying this. When the musical chairs game stops, to the point you made earlier, Cody Campbell wants Texas Tech on the exact same plane, tier, level, whatever, as Texas.
Wants a seat.
Doesn't care about A&M, doesn't care about Oklahoma, doesn't care about Michigan, doesn't care about Ohio State, Georgia. He wants Texas Tech to be seen as absolutely level with Texas.
Yeah, when everybody's plopping their butt in the seats, Cody wants a seat.
Yeah.
And that's what all this is about.
What club is Texas in? I want to be in that club.
And
period. That's what he's fighting for.
And
all the other stuff is just, whatever, noise. And again, I'm far from that. May sound harsh.
No, it's true. I mean,
but that's what he wants.
Done. I mean, look at this dog and pony show with Brendan Sorsby.
Yeah.
All of this was because he wants Texas Tech to win games.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And be seen as and again, you're in a power league, man.
Whatever money.
But you're not at Texas's level.
You're not in the SEC or the Big Ten.
No.
You're in no offense, you're in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Look, that $4 million, $3 million, whatever Brendan Sorsby ended up getting before he pieced out, Cody Campbell has that in his glove compartment and change.
Yes.
It's not about that. It's about this guy's going to win us games and make us matter and get us to the college football playoff and put us on an even keel with the big dogs. That's all that was. That's all Cody Campbell cares about. Yeah. Because he wants a statue in Lubbock of him being this great man who did all these wonderful things for Texas Tech. Yeah.
And he may succeed, but I can't right now. Again, that school will never get into the Big Ten.
No, and not in the SEC.
But he'd like to think he could get into the SEC.
He's not.
And right now, you made a lot of enemies, dude.
Good luck with that.
All right, we will come back on the other side with those new rule changes. Like I said, they're not going to get sued on these. I promise. You're listening to the Postgame Show.
Oh, get our first check on the traffic. As soon as the little spot loads here on the little computer. And we'll let you know what's happening. We know that there's slow traffic in Malfunction Junction. It's always slow traffic in Malfunction Junction. Also, we know we have road construction in the same spots. We always have road construction in the Midlands. That hasn't changed either. Accident-wise, so far today we have a few. Augusta Highway. There's an accident. Also, Hardscrabble Road at Bush Road. I-20 eastbound at Monticello. I-26 eastbound at Airport Boulevard. Windsor Lake Boulevard at Oakcrest Road as well. And I-26 westbound near South Carolina 36 for the folks in Charleston.
All right, welcome back in. 25 in front of 5 here on this Thursday. Jay and Terry with you. A few rule changes to get to. NCAA earlier this week altered its eligibility rules, and within hours had a lawsuit lined up with athletes from several states, I believe 5 different states, 22 athletes at the initial filing. More are expected. These are high school class of 2022 students, and they feel like they should get a 5th year of eligibility this coming season. NCAA says, nah, you've played your 4, and that was the rule. And they're sticking to it. They released a statement today. I won't get into it. They released a statement today saying you've had all the benefits, and you knew what you were getting into, and if you've exhausted your 4, then we can't do anything about it. I don't know. Again, Terry, I told you yesterday, I have no way of knowing if this will be successful. There was no COVID provision, no extenuating circumstances for any of these. I think these are all mostly, 4-year college athletes. So we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see. You know what, though? Don't you sit around at this point? 2 things. A, the NCAA always gets their tail kicked. So they'll probably get their tail kicked somehow in this one.
Probably.
And B, I always go like this. When any of this stuff comes up, I go, okay, how are you stopping someone from being able to basically cash in on themselves? Are you doing that? Because if you are, you might be breaking antitrust laws.
Right.
So I don't know about you. That's the 2 places my head goes all the time now.
Yeah, and I mean, and some may argue that, like, hey, I've still got earning potential. Yeah, but and they're going to say, but you played 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I
don't know.
I don't know.
Look, after the Brendan Sorsby thing, I got no clue what's going to happen.
And again, the new rules starting in 27-28 school year will give you 5 to play 5, but it's not going to take effect until 14 months from now.
Right.
So can't help you. I'd like to.
Okay.
Or, maybe you should just go get a job.
Or get a lawyer.
Well, that's what they've done.
What the hell? Just get a lawyer.
And they got a good lawyer, Darren Heitner, man.
Darren Heitner's good.
Yeah, I think Kessler's the only one who's better.
It's.
By the way, I was thinking about something you and I were talking about, like, because you mentioned something about, Kessler just likes to keep making a name for himself. And I was like, man, bro's already in the Hall of Fame. Andy and Ari on their show, Andy Staples, Ari Wasserman, said the same thing. They were like, I mean, this guy has beaten the NFL multiple times. He's beaten the NCAA multiple times. I mean, he
just keeps going,
doesn't,
man.
This is what, he doesn't want the publicity. He doesn't need the publicity. This is just what he does.
Him, man. He just keeps. It's just him.
And he wins.
He gets the tingles. I'm telling you, he gets the tingles over this stuff.
So a couple of other rule changes have been voted upon and passed. For starting immediately, teams that transition. We should say schools, but I guess this is a team since it's just for football. Teams transitioning from the FCS to FBS no longer have to sit for 2 seasons before becoming eligible for any kind of postseason play. Starting now, if you're in, you're in. Now,
it was a dumb rule.
It was terrible.
And it needed to be changed.
They did it, and again, I don't look. If I'm some of these schools, I appreciate that the NCAA wants to be some kind of like mama bear.
Mm-hmm.
But,
helicopter parent.
Yeah, but like, hey, I'll look after me, and if I need you, I'll let you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the NCAA basically had this rule in place for a long time. I still believe it was to primarily discourage movement.
I wouldn't disagree with
that. But it was basically like, hey, because schools were doing it for money. more often, way more often than not, they were doing it for money. And so they were like, well, you're not going to earn some of that money. Yeah, now you're getting your homecoming check for, going and getting beat by 40. But you're not going to a bowl game or whatever else. And now you're not going to the playoffs. Remember, James Madison a couple years ago really kind of got hosed on this. And I think that's what prompted this finally.
Yeah.
And this year, North Dakota State, who has some nice wins over FBS teams, they even beat Nebraska once, right?
Yep.
They move up this year, and they're going to the Mountain West. They will immediately be eligible to win the Mountain West and to go to the college football playoff. And I'm not going to be surprised, Terry Ford, if North Dakota State becomes a Group of 6 representative in the playoff. I'm not predicting it because there's some good schools in there, but I think
they've been a machine.
But they're good. They're good. They're really good.
Yep.
And I think they can win that conference.
And it might take a year-ish to get your bearings.
Well, Boise and San Diego State are in the new Pac-12.
Right, they're
so
gone.
They're you don't have them.
I think if you saw North Dakota State in the next year or two competing for the Mountain West Championship, and like you said, maybe be in the Group of 6 rep at some point.
Not going to surprise me.
Would not surprise anybody.
Last year, Missouri State and Delaware moved up, but they had to wait. But they got in on a technicality. And so this year they just removed all that. And again, this is the right thing. So I don't see any lawsuits there, so that's good. And again, watch for North Dakota State. They will also allow a new change. They will also allow, this one could get interesting, and this one I could see potentially a lawsuit from a school though, not from players. The Division I cabinet will allow a conference to choose one of its teams with a 5-7 record to participate in a bowl game if the league cannot fill its commitments to a bowl partner. In the past, what had basically happened was that it was just sort of a pool of teams. And so, if just as an example, and look, the SEC will always fill its bowl slots, but if an SEC team somehow couldn't fulfill it, and there was a 5-7 team somewhere else that from say the Sun Belt,
right,
they'd have gotten the spot.
There was a pecking order.
Yeah, and now the conference can do that. So you may see some 6-6 schools, I suppose. Not. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if there's certain, I guess if a conference has a certain number of 6-6 teams and a smaller number of bowl slots, could we see a 5-7 team from a bigger conference get in over a 6-6 team with less bowl agreement slots? I don't know. And would they go like, hey, we have 6 wins?
Here's the dangerous part: is a 5-7 team that's got a big brand.
Yeah,
and travels well.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I am.
And you got to have the thing is you got to have a 930 APR. You got to have a 930 APR. So you got to have a 930 APR. That's the only prerequisite.
Right. I remember
if you're 5-7.
Look, neither one of us are fans of 5-7 teams in bowl games.
No,
I don't really like 6-6, but I get it. You got 7 billion bowl games. You got to fill them. The idea
41 bowl games this coming season, by the way. 41.
I know it's insane. So you got to fill the bowls.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about some of this stuff, and the idea that's my one is if you got a 6-6 team, but somebody from a power conference is 5-7, maybe they travel better. All of a sudden, you're trying to weasel that 5-7 team in ahead of a 6-6. But I guess I've given up on it all, saying, you know what, you got way too many bowl games, but I get why. I get it. I don't have to watch them if I don't want to. They're here, so you know what. Do what you got to do.
That's what Heath and I always talked about, because when people would complain like there are too many, I'm like, hey, you don't have to watch.
Don't watch them, and that's the thing. Look,
but ESPN owns most of these, and it's content. Yeah, it's content in December.
Yeah, so I understand it all, and that's why I've just gone like this. Fill them. Yeah. If I don't want to watch it, I'm not going to watch it. Anyway.
I love college football. I don't watch all those games.
No, I don't either. So.
But some of them get to be like really fun.
Every now and then you stumble into one when you just turn around. This is what we all do.
Final score 63-60. I'm like, I'm watching that.
You'll love it. And 5 guys on both teams, right?
I'm watching that.
And you're watching this crazy kooky game go back and forth, and you're like, man, this was fun.
Yeah, And
this is 2 6-6 teams or whatever.
Yeah, so I don't mind that.
I've gotten, there's hills in life to die on. I walked away from that hill about 5 years ago. I was like, you know what? Fill the bowls wherever you have to, whatever.
Two more. The cabinet approved a standardized 14-week FBS schedule, so every team will have 2 bye weeks, and they will mandate that the regular season end Thanksgiving weekend, except for the Army-Navy regular season game. And they will also, Terry, and I'll just joke with this real quick, they will also, like the NFL, begin to allow a legalized tampering period. They didn't call it that, but that's what the NFL calls it.
Sure.
And college is going to do the same thing. So, yeah. So,
but nobody'd ever tamper.
So I don't think they'll get sued over any of those.
Yep.
World Cup update on the other side. It is soccer update time. I wish I could say what it was, but we can't do that. It's just like, the big football game in February or the big basketball tournament in March.
Can't say it.
Certain things we can't say during sponsored opportunities. Nevertheless, that big, giant tournament is going on. We have hit halftime of the Ecuador-Germany game, 1-1. Germany's already won their group, but they are, they want to get out there. I think Germany is looking at this like we need to go play well and kind of keep the chemistry rolling because, they had a couple of bad tournaments the last iterations of this thing. So they're feeling good about themselves right now. And nearing halftime in the other one going on right now in Group E, Ivory Coast leads Curacao 1-0. Tonight, we've got, before the America Group D games, we've got Japan and Sweden and Tunisia and the Netherlands. Those games will kick at 7. Japan-Sweden, Terry Ford, is a sneaky good game. Really looking forward to that one. The Netherlands, on the other hand, is probably going to beat Tunisia badly.
I believe
Tunisia has not had a good tournament. They have looked. In fact, they've looked bad.
Remember, the Netherlands is my bandwagon crew.
That's a good pick, man. They are strong.
I like me some Netherlands.
They're strong. And then tonight, the United States takes on Turkey at 10 o'clock. The United States has already won the group, and Turkey has already been eliminated. At the same time, Paraguay will take on Australia.
Okay, I'm glad to know that you're going to stay awake. Good for you. That's number one. Number two.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to have Jay Phillips, soccer guy, soccer dork Jay Phillips, tell me United States already wrapped up their spiel. They're moving on. They've won the group. Turkey's out. They're done. It's a game that, Turkey's just playing for pride or to inflict pain. The United States, the goal is to be healthy to go into the knockout phase.
By the way, USA will play again Wednesday at 8, if you're wondering. So that's their next game, Wednesday at 8.
So if Jay Phillips is coaching the United States, how does he handle it?
It's an interesting problem. Look, you have 4 guys on yellow cards, and in this group stage, if you get a second yellow card, you miss the next game. But if you don't get the second yellow, then it's wiped out, and you start clean. That said, look, Christian Pulisic may be the best player. He's not one on a yellow, but Tyler Adams is one of their on the yellow, and Tyler is in that mid. He's a terrific midfielder, Terry, and he's sort of the engine right now of this team. I mean, he's had a really good year in England. He plays for Bournemouth, and he's good. And I got a hunch Tyler doesn't play tonight. I probably don't play my yellow card guys because I don't need anything to happen. To your point about Turkey, they're better than this.
Right.
They've had a bad – you could argue that they have had the worst tournament of anybody.
Really?
Not because they've been the worst team. They're not – but talent-wise, they should be advancing.
They should be better than they are.
They should be the second-best team. If not, there were some who thought they could win this group.
Right.
The Turkish Pro League is really good, and pretty much all their dudes play in it. And the ones that don't actually play at an even better level, they're good, man. And they've just kind of crapped the bed these last couple of games. Really, I think the opener against Australia, they just kind of came out, and Australia took it to them and beat them 2-0, and they didn't recover. They didn't recover. To your point, though, I think they come out tonight and want to go, oh, yeah, and they're getting to play America in America. So that concerns me a little bit. Again, a loss wouldn't matter.
Right.
Nothing can change for the United States. They have won the group. They will get the benefit of winning the group. They're going to play in Santa Clara next week. But I think Turkey comes out, Turkey, whatever, and they want to show a little bit. So that I wouldn't want my yellow card guys getting drawn in, if that's the right way to put it.
That's the perfect way to get drawn in.
So I think you leave them out. I think Pulisic plays a little bit. I think some of your starters play. You keep your goalie, Matt Freese, because he needs to just get better. We don't have a good goalie right now, which really kind of sucks.
That'll bite you at some point.
Yeah, it worries me. It really does. I long for the days when the United States 3 keepers all started in the Premier League.
Right.
Because they did at one point.
Isn't that ironic how good the goalkeeper
You had
in
3,
America
man.
was?
You had 3 that started in the Premier League, and now you don't have any. But I think you try to blend the lineup with a mix of starters and then some guys that you are going to need to play some good minutes. But I wouldn't play those yellow card guys.
No.
And I know sometimes you say you trust a player to not go get himself in trouble. It's sometimes heat of the moment.
Easier said than done.
Yeah,
my
and when
man.
some dude comes running at you full speed and jacks one, and then 5 minutes later you want to get him back,
Sure.
it's a bad.
The second guy always
It's
gets called.
exactly, exactly. So, but go America! I think we'll get it done, man. But it might be like 3-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Headlines of the day coming up. And I will be watching that game, as many of you may, with my home entertainment system installed by the experts at Integrated Media. Always love to watch, and like surround sound to make you feel like you're almost there. And if you've been dreaming of a great home theater, maybe you've been to a friend's house that's got something cool, or even a sports bar. You say, "Can I get like 4 TVs to do everything at once, and then or 4 TVs to do something different at the same time?" Yeah, if you can dream it up, Integrated Media can make it happen for you. Or maybe tonight it'll be late. Just don't hurt the neighbors too much, but you could watch outside. Enjoy a little nice cooling off period. You can do an outdoor system. Integrated Media makes all your home theater dreams come true. 803-948-8327. One room, whole house, indoors, outdoors. Make it all happen with my good friends at Integrated Media.
All righty, we have some accidents. Here's the list. Lee Park Road at Augusta Road. Highway 302 at Glen Street. Hard Scrabble at Bush Road. Also, accident if you are listening to us in our affiliate in Charleston, Orangeburg area, I-26 westbound near South Carolina 36. And we have stop and go at Malfunction Junction like always, and construction. Bush River Road at Old Sandy Run Road on I-26, I-20 between Sunset Boulevard and Bush River Road, and Broad River Road between I-26 and Dutch Fork Road. We get to 5 o'clock in the news from our buddies Integrated Media next.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Thursday. It's also the final hour of the postgame show. Alongside Terry Ford, I'm Jay Phillips. We start with some Gamecock basketball news for you. Home and away assignments have been released today by the Southeastern Conference when it comes to men's basketball. We did this last week with women's basketball. We don't have dates and times yet, but we now know at least who Lamont Paris's team will be playing and where. Carolina will have home and homes with Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi State. UGA and State are typically part of the home and home that Carolina plays. The other, all the home games rather, will be Bama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Mississippi, Texas A&M, and Texas. South Carolina will travel to Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Missouri, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Again, dates and times for these games will be announced at a later date. And Carolina also lets you know that you can get upper-level deposits, $99 each, lower-level deposits, $190 each for season tickets. We talked a lot of basketball, with Jordan Kay of the State Paper earlier, and we'll revisit some of that as part of our Gamecock Notebook.
Maybe.
Well, that's what I was told. Hey, whatever. It's up to the computer.
That's right. You never know.
Yeah, the computer seems to be computers running things. And one quick baseball note, South Carolina has picked up a portal commitment from right-handed pitcher Jordan Stevens from Georgia. In 2 years with the Bulldogs, he was 5-0, a 5.77 ERA, 45 strikeouts, 31 walks, and 39 innings pitched, primarily coming out of the bullpen for Wes Johnson's team. So Jordan Stevens, he'll have 1 year left. But again, 5-0 with a 5.77 in his 2 years at UGA. Again, real quick, this one, and not a lot of followers of the WNBA perhaps, but today it was announced that Alyssa Thomas of the Phoenix Mercury received a flagrant 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension for making contact with her fist to the throat of Caitlin Clark. It was an ugly scene last night.
You see the highlight?
I have multiple times actually, and Dan Patrick spent the first hour of his show today discussing it. It was that egregious in Dan's mind that he was really surprised that there was no call in the game. By the way,
No.
this was not an upgrade of a flagrant 1 or even of a personal foul. There was no call, and Ms. Thomas quite clearly and deliberately put her fist. Caitlin was on the floor.
Yeah.
And put her fist on Caitlin's throat and pushed. And it's, in real speed, in slow-mo, from multiple angles, it's quite obvious.
That was what do we call it, giving you the business?
Yeah.
And that's what that was. And look.
Apparently, Caitlin mocked her the other day, but, that was mocking from the sideline. If this is retribution.
Yeah, look, here's my thing. And Caitlin Clark is no saint, and she has
no, she's not. Again,
she's not a saint.
She very openly mocked her the other day. Yeah.
So no
and Thomas didn't like that. Thomas didn't
act
like
like she is some, angel of wholesomeness in these situations, but that's a bit too far. And look, you're pushing on somebody's throat, things of that nature. And here's the other part of it. And the head coach said this afterwards. The Indiana head coach. This is generational talent. And look, like it or not, and there are women in this league that don't like it, she's the cash cow. She is your Tiger Woods. Deal with it. You can say I'm better than her. There's 20 women better than her. I'm not saying you're wrong. But guess what? She's your cash cow. And as long as she is playing, you have a chance yourself to put more money in your pocket.
Right.
So be a business person here. I know it's tough when you're a player and everybody's got egos. And look, Asia Wilson's the best player in that league.
She's the best player on the planet.
And it's not even a conversation.
It's not.
But more people are going to go watch Caitlin Clark than Asia Wilson.
They are. And I think the league understands that.
But players need to understand that. And that's the point, is no one's saying you put Caitlin Clark in a Vatican Pope mobile.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you might not like her, or you might think you're better than her, and no one's saying you're wrong in any of that stuff. But punching her in the throat or pushing down on her throat
while she's on the floor,
because you're mad because she mocked you, Come on now.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And this league's got to do a better job of protecting her.
All three officials, by the way, told the Fever after the game that they didn't see it. All three of them said we didn't see it.
You got to do a better job of protecting your cash cow.
So,
look, the world ain't fair, Jay.
Right.
But in this case, the reason things have exploded for women's basketball, and you can hate it, you can agree with it, you can disagree, but my opinion is Caitlin Clark opened you a door.
She's done a lot. There's no question. And I'm with you on Asia. I mean, Asia just got herself a Wheaties box, man. I mean, there's no doubting who the best player is.
It's not even close.
Right.
I'm not trying to be mean.
And Asia's a hell of a draw.
Yes, but Caitlin Clark is bringing in casuals.
Yeah.
And you need to understand that as a league, and you need to protect her better. Just saying. Or all your stars you need to protect better. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You do. You absolutely do. But Alyssa Thomas, a one-game suspension that will be served this weekend against Toronto. Meanwhile, you may have to help me with this one, sir. The Charlotte Hornets have traded LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to Minnesota for Naz Reid and draft picks. In addition to Reid, the Hornets get a 2033, 7 years from now, unprotected first-round pick, 3 second-round picks, 29, 32, and 33. They also get first-round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 30. Apparently, here recently, teams have been calling Charlotte saying they want LaMelo Ball. I also feel like maybe, even though Ball says he's been happy, I got a hunch that he was probably ready to get out. He has 3 years left on his deal, though, so he really couldn't agitate too much for a move just yet. But, Terry, I got to be honest with you, and I know plenty about basketball, and I watch enough NBA. I don't understand the trading him and getting Naz Reid to come down, although I don't know what he's going to do for you relative to what LaMelo was doing. I don't understand the rest of this trade.
All right, I'll just take it from the Charlotte side. First of all, there was no smoke on this for the last 24 hours, and all of a sudden LaMelo Ball's in trade talks. Something happened, is my opinion. LaMelo Ball's getting it's a 5-year, $23 million rookie max deal. And he's in the middle of it. All right, you got Brandon Miller, you got Con Knippel, two guys who really popped last year for Charlotte. They became real offensive options and playmakers. You know who led the team in shots last year?
LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball, 17 shots a game. You know who the point guard is?
LaMelo Ball.
You know what the job of a point guard is?
Distribute the ball.
Now, LaMelo Ball did average 7 assists a game, but LaMelo Ball took 17 shots a game. That leads the team. So, here's my guess. A couple things happen here. First of all, Brandon Miller, Con Knippel are now moving past LaMelo Ball as the scoring options. So that means LaMelo Ball now is to be more of a distributor of the basketball, more of a guy who is running the offense as a point guard instead of a point guard who is leading the team in shots and points. LaMelo Ball probably doesn't like that and doesn't like the role that's starting to happen for him in Charlotte.
He knows there's a scorer in Minnesota, right?
Well, and that was my next point. Is sometimes, be careful what you wish for. Right. Because there's a dude in Minnesota, not to be mean, better than Knippel and Miller.
Yeah.
And so, LaMelo, if you think you didn't want to be, diverting to others, you better be diverting to that guy because that guy's a hell of a lot better than you. Look, Ball shoots under 41% from the floor. His shot selection can be head-scratching at times. I think there was a thing in Charlotte where they saw the two guys they'd rather have take the shots, and LaMelo Ball probably wasn't down with that in some ways. But now you go to Minnesota. Here's the scary part, Jay. If LaMelo doesn't change his game in Minnesota, he's got the ball in his hands a lot. You know what that means doesn't have the ball?
Anthony Edwards.
The better player.
Yes.
And I'll give you the quick example of that one in Milwaukee when they brought in Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard's a good player.
Yeah.
You know who's a better player? Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right.
You know who Damian Lillard having the ball all the time took away from?
Yeah.
The better player.
Yeah.
That's the danger in Minnesota.
Right.
So I think, to answer your question, I think there was some stuff of unhappiness.
So if I'm a
roles.
Hornets fan right now, I'm
here's the biggest thing. It's not so much about LaMelo Ball. It's about you're replacing LaMelo Ball with Kobe White, most likely. And maybe Christian Anderson, the rookie from Texas Tech. It's one thing to move LaMelo Ball, but the more important thing is who you're replacing LaMelo Ball with. If you want a more pass-first point guard, that's not Kobe White. Well, that's not in Kobe White's resume. So if I'm a Hornets fan, I'm more concerned. Okay, you moved him. Naz Reid is a very underrated piece. He's a different player. He plays front court. But who are you replacing LaMelo Ball with? Because you need a point guard, Jay. Just saying.
Yeah. Good luck, Hornet fans.
And look, you got a long off season. We'll see what Charlotte
more
does.
moves. Yeah, now you have a lot of draft capital.
You got draft capital that you can use down the road. You got $7 billion future picks 20 years from now.
Yeah.
But who are you going to replace LaMelo Ball with for real? Because if it's Kobe White, that's where if I'm a Hornet fan, I'm like, that's the plan here?
Yeah, it seemed perplexing to me.
Or I think I joked with you. The Hornets got together and said, you know what, we got a fun team, and we actually made the play-in round, and people are coming back to the arena. How do we screw it up?
Yeah, that sounds more like the Hornets. Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, more information has come out from Major League Baseball when it comes to the collective bargaining agreement negotiations. Now they are also throwing out that ownership wants a maximum contract length of 5 years for free agents who switch teams, while the organization would have the ability to keep their own player on a free agent deal for up to 6 years. They would call it a cornerstone player provision. This potential change comes as the league addressed the reserve clause issues in a meeting with the union, and this would take effect next season. The league's proposal includes raising the minimum salary for players from $780,000 to $1 million if you've been in the league 2 years. Any player with 0 or 1 year would receive $1 million if they receive a full year of service. That includes a $900,000 minimum plus a $100,000 bonus. This doesn't seem too problematic. I think this is probably a shot across the bow as well, quietly from most ownership, Terry, to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have signed guys to giant long-term contracts in an effort to give them a lot but spread it out.
Tons of deferred money.
So I don't know that this is, and players would love that. Mm-hmm. But so, again, this is primarily, obviously, a negotiating tactic with the union, and the Dodgers are part of the management. Yeah. But I could also see some owners going, we got to rein the Dodgers in.
Well, plus, I mean, look, this is also the throwing look. We want a cap.
Yeah.
So you know what we're going to do? We're going to throw you a bone. You can get back into free agency after 5 years. You can check the market, because a lot of these guys now are getting these player options after a year or two. Okay, maximum length of contract's 5 years. Let's say you're 28 years old, you sign a free agent contract. Max length is 5 years. Mm-hmm. So at 33 years old, you might not be in your prime anymore, but now instead of sitting like the old days where you had this long contract, right? Now you can go back in the market and make even more money like an NBA player does.
Be great for pitchers.
Yeah, so point being, I think this has got some player friendliness to it, mm-hmm. that maybe you can say, okay, we want this, but we're going to throw you this. And the other part of a lot of this is, again, when you look at the minimum salary being raised, that's good. You're looking at the full year of service, that money goes up. Now, remember, before you get to 3 years and you're arbitration eligible, you're making, in baseball terms, bleh.
Right.
So now they're saying, okay, we're going to up all that money in the early stages, and they still want 6 years before free agency. Now, if I'm the players, I'm saying, you want a cap? Screw you. I want free agency by 4 years.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see
if
what
I
the
was
give
a
and
player,
take. Yeah,
right? So all this is that, don't you think all this too is like the leveraging a future negotiation for real, right? We're all throwing these like test clouds up in the air to see the reaction.
Absolutely.
No, but I think though, if you're going cap, you got to give the players some early love on free agency, and you got to pay them better 0 to 3 years, right?
We'll see where it goes next. Again, a long way to go, but yeah, I think these are all it's all part of the song and dance.
Our head's going to hurt a lot before this is over. You know that, right?
Atlanta Braves suffered their first sweep of the season last night. They fell to the Padres 5-2. Braves have lost 4 straight, and again, still on that, have lost 7 of 10. Thankfully, they are off tonight. They will stay out on the coast and will head up to San Francisco to open a 3-game set with the Giants tomorrow. By the way, Saturday marks the halfway point of the regular season.
There you go.
So I know this much based on how it works. The Braves will be in first place at the halfway point.
Do you get anything for that?
No, but I feel better about it. Gamecock Notebook is next. All right, you're one of the fortunate ones that's got a pool in your backyard, but that water's been a little cloudy. Not looking good. Maybe you've had that pool for a while. Time to call Griffin Pools and Spas and let them help you out with equipment upgrades or services, depending on what you might need. Again, is that pump and filter system loud, kind of obnoxious even because it's been around for a while? Get something new, quieter, more efficient. Griffin Pools and Spas, experts at making you feel a whole lot better about your pool. Maybe you got a vinyl liner in there and the sun and the chemicals have kind of turned what was once blue into some kind of weird shade of something that you don't like anymore. Listen, they've got dozens of styles of vinyl line. You can really change things up with that. Let them do that for you. Safety covers, water analysis to keep that water nice and clean and safe all year long. Stop in and see them, what they can do for you right there, steps away from the dam on North Lake Drive, and learn more right now online at griffinpoolsandspas.com. Welcome back in. Gamecock Notebook time on this Thursday. Jay and Terry with you. Talked a lot of Carolina basketball this week as Lamont Paris yesterday held a press conference. We'll get into a little bit of what Coach Paris had to say. Also had our buddy Jordan Kay of the State Paper on earlier. And I think we start with the expectation question. But one of the things that we're talking about here, look, you spent, and we'll hear Lamont talk about spending some money and the support that he got from the administration to be able to do those kind of things. But with increased spending, if you will, and investment comes increased expectation.
Yep.
And Terry, you asked Jordan a question that we both kind of bandied about with ourselves, and that is, all right, what are those expectations?
It has to be a tournament appearance. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think that has to be the minimum if you're an SEC basketball team. And, you know, the money they've put into this team, by all accounts, it's at least the double digits, you know, probably could be double of what they spent last year. Then you talk about the money they poured into this coaching staff, not only adding another coach, but, you know, really beefing up the assistants, getting Bob Donewald Jr., who's been a massive force in getting those 3 international guys. The investment is there, and you've got to make the tournament. I think, you know, I don't know if I think Lamont Paris is on the hot seat going into this season, and anything short of an NCAA tournament, you know, that's going to make his seat very, very hot. You know, I think there was even questions after last year, do you bring him back? And the answer, it seems like, from Jeremiah Donati is, hey, we didn't give him enough, you know, resources to be able to win. And so they gave him enough resources this year. They have the talent to back it up. And it, you know, I think that has to be kind of the goal for this team, is make the NCAA tournament.
You could probably do a much longer feature on this as a whole, but to that last point you made about Jeremiah, how much of that from one year to the next for him, Jeremiah being on the job, was an assessment not only of the programs on campus, but maybe looking around the league and realizing South Carolina was so far behind?
Yeah, I mean, he did that right when he got to South Carolina. I mean, we had reported that, you know, 2 years ago the NIL budget for men's basketball was under $2 million, and that was the lowest in the SEC. You know, from what I had heard last year, they basically tripled it and got just above $6 million. And, you know, I think there was thought that, hey, we're going to be right in the mix of this. And, you know, they probably had money set aside too if Colin Murray-Boyles was going to come back. So, you know, you triple your NIL budget, and you're thinking, okay, wow, we're going to be right there now. But everyone else also tripled their NIL budget.
Right.
So, you know, I think most schools were spending 10, and it became pretty clear pretty quickly that, like, oh my gosh, like, South Carolina just does not have the talent to compete in the SEC. And so what I think South Carolina then had to do is say, okay, now we've got to even go crazier again just to catch up to every other school. And so I think last year was kind of the realization of, hey, even though we beefed up our NIL, we're still not able to compete resource-wise with these teams. And now I think they're at the point of saying, okay, now we're in the mix. Now we're getting to compete with every other SEC team. And I think that's kind of what leads Lamont to say the stuff of, hey, you know, we were able to be the highest bidder for every guy we brought in. I don't think that's Lamont trying to brag. I think that's him being excited of, like, hey, now we can finally compete. Like, now we are on par with everyone else, and now there's no more excuses.
Good stuff from Jordan Kay. Let's jump right in and let you hear. It's about a minute cut here from Coach Paris on that very point that Jordan just illustrated there, and that is Lamont saying, we were the high bidder. We had what we needed, and we went and got it.
Not to keep going too long, but I look at it, you know, this is what every agent says in 2026. It all starts off the same. The conversation always starts off with this obligatory statement. Money, it's not about the money. And then as we continue to move on, I will say I don't know if there was one player that we were able to, one new player that we got to come here that we ended up the second highest payer. I don't think that ever happened. We were always the highest payer. So, I mean, that's where we are. It's what it is. There's still all these other things that go into it. You have to identify guys that fit systematically. You got to identify and address needs that you want. You got to have these pieces come together the right way. But you're also doing it as you're looking at overall a different level of group of players while you're making those decisions than what we were a year ago.
Jordan made mention as well, Terry, that, you know, maybe some of the social media reaction can be a little bit different than normal reaction. And I did say yesterday on the show that that statement from Lamont, we were the highest bidder for every one of these guys, could go, again, a lot of branches off that tree. But I personally, for as many branches as it could be, I never really looked at it as something that was negative or egregious. And Jordan kind of joked and said, I can imagine that some fans of opposing schools will use that against South Carolina during the year if things aren't going well. Mm-hmm. And I suppose they're like, oh, look what it bought you. And I know that's what he means. I took it primarily as Jeremiah Donati gave me the support that I needed. Now I got to go do something with it.
Right. And the only thing I would love to know, if we could, we pop Lamont with the Falker Truth Serum, is okay, can you tell us who were you bidding against?
Yeah. For Hannah, I think it was Wisconsin, right?
Yep, Wisconsin was in the mix, we heard.
Because he's from Wisconsin.
Right. For the other, and beating another power school, even though people talk about Wisconsin's NIL spending and things of that nature, still beating another Power 4 school for a player is a good thing. It always will be a good thing.
And in a way, did you outbid Alabama if Alabama really did want to keep him?
The word was Alabama did want to keep him, but obviously they've got players they'd rather pay more to. So going back to the highest bidder point.
There you go.
And so it would be interesting just to get that next level. Okay, who were you bidding against with all these players?
And we may not know that.
And he might not. And it would be like again, if you're outbidding Alabama, cool. And this is not to be mean. If you're outbidding, I don't know, Citadel,
right?
Maybe it's a different animal. But the good news is here, I guess, out of all of it, to circle back, is Jeremiah Donati gave Lamont Paris what Lamont said he needed. You need more money. You need more resources here. That's a positive in all this so far, Jay. Shane Beamer got more. Paul Maneri got more. Lamont got more. Kevin Schnall, they're saying he's bringing an army in with him,
That's what John Whittle said.
And he's also, you see what's going on in the transfer portal with Carolina baseball. Jeremiah Donati's moving and shaking the tree to get the money.
Right.
And the resources. And to me, I think I'm a Gamecock fan. I feel good about that, knowing that this is a guy that gets what's needed to get this stuff accomplished.
Yeah, and now he's got to go get it done. I'll tell you what, we have the drive around the SEC on the other side, and there is one just quick bit of SEC news that we'll get to. But we're going to continue this discussion because we do have some more good stuff that y'all want to hear from Coach Paris's presser, including how he sees the amount of pressure on his shoulders. You're listening to the Postgame Show. Cato's Power Equipment is ready to help you make your yard look absolutely fantastic, even as Mother Nature continues to make it grow faster than you might like, right? But hey, we've needed the rain of late, and now it's going to be really hot. But that, around here, it's growing season. So stop into Cato's, whether it's a brand new mower, or maybe you love the mower you have, but you need to get it serviced, get those blades sharpened and that engine tuned up. They can get that done for you. Push mowers, riding mowers, whatever you want. If you do it for a living, you especially need to make sure that you got your equipment at tip-top shape so that you are getting to more jobs and making more money. And when you get into Cato's, you can pick it up. You can stand on it if you want to, depending on what kind of mower it might be. Sit on it. Push it around. They'll even let you turn on a blower in the shop. How do I know that? Because I did it when I bought my blower at Cato's, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, where they have been family-owned since 1984. Ben, Matt, and the crew ready to help you out. My good friends at Cato's Power Equipment.
Alrighty, we have some accidents. Atlas at Shop Road, also Clemson Road at Clemson Frontage Road, Highway 302 at Glen Street, Leaphart Road at Augusta Road, still haven't got that one cleaned up, North Springs Road at South Springs Road. Also, we have stop-and-go traffic, Malfunction Junction, like always, and some long-standing construction that's being dealt with as well. Pop back, more Lamont Paris on the drive around the SEC next during the postgame show.
It is Drive Around the SEC time. Welcome back in. Jay and Terry with you. We'll get back into some sound from Lamont Paris in just a second, and I'll update you with one, if you missed it in the news, one baseball transfer portal get for Carolina today. First off, just one quick note of news today in the Southeastern Conference. Allstate Insurance and the SEC have announced the formation of a Women's Champions Cup. It will start this coming school year. It will be a 10-sport competition. I don't know what other than a nice trophy, Terry, I don't know if there's a monetary prize with this or you get like a spot in an Allstate commercial or something.
You get to hang out with, what was it now?
I don't know who does the Allstate.
What's his name?
The Mayhem guy? Isn't that Allstate?
No, that's the guy I don't want to hang out with. I want to hang out with the Mayhem guy. He's so
that's Allstate, right?
That's Allstate. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I don't know who else is doing
As long
Allstate.
as the Mayhem isn't happening to me,
Right.
I'm in.
But there you go. More details coming. They didn't give a release, or in the release they didn't tell me the 10 sports.
No.
But I'm assuming it's going to be track and basketball and
It has to be, right?
softball,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
volleyball.
Yeah, it has to be those type of sports. Right?
I don't know if not everybody has gymnastics. So
No, they don't.
I don't know if it's that one. I don't know, man. But anyway, there you go. So we'll see. But the Women's Champions Cup.
There you
And
go.
Allstate, in addition to sponsoring that, Allstate has secured further sponsorship opportunities. What's the it just went out of my head. The Saturday morning SEC Network show. That's like game day.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I forget what they call it. But yeah.
SEC Nation.
There you go.
They'll have a greater sponsorship presence with that program as well. So there you
Good
go.
deal.
More money coming into the SEC.
That's what matters, right?
Which means more money going back out into the SEC.
Yes. And this time, though, focusing on some other sports besides just the usual.
Yeah. So get a little mix of everything. In there. All right. And again, I said there's one Gamecock baseball note for you. Right-handed pitcher Jordan Stevens transferring from Georgia into the Carolina program. He's a bullpen guy. In 2 seasons with UGA, 5-0 with a 5.77, 45 strikeouts, 31 walks, 39 innings pitched.
Probably want to get that walk number down, Jay.
Yeah, and he'll have 1 season of eligibility.
Right, so you hear those numbers, you go, okay, lots of strikeouts, lots of walks. What do you think? Little command issues at times?
Yeah, I mean, better than a strikeout an inning, but nearly a walk an inning. And, again, an ERA of near 6. So you figure him to be it kind of like, I don't know, a 6th or 7th inning guy.
Yeah, and maybe
the spot start,
maybe,
on a Wednesday.
And you bring him in, and maybe you see something. Look, Wes Johnson's a hell of a pitching coach.
Yeah.
But maybe you see something that you think you could tweak with him, or maybe you see him in a different type of role he could thrive in. Because, again, the strikeout number is very compelling.
Absolutely.
Really is.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, more from Lamont Paris, who spoke yesterday. And again, we appreciate Jordan Kay's time and giving some of his thoughts. And we, again, to me, the biggest question around this team now becomes expectation. And then, of course, a lot of things can be encompassed in that conversation in terms of, did you upgrade the roster? And I think Jordan hit on a great point. Terry, you even had to chuckle there in the interview. This didn't happen in a vacuum.
Right.
South Carolina spent a lot more money. So did everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how did you spend it? We don't know those things yet. But to Jordan's point, there's 16 schools in this conference. There's 8 new slots in the NCAA tournament now. couple years ago, 14 of 16 made the tournament. You were one that was left out with LSU.
Right.
So with 8 new slots and proof that most of your schools can get in with 68, can you get them all in with 76? And Jordan says that kind of needs to be everybody's baseline. So what does Lamont think? Cut number 11 here, please, sir. Here is Lamont on knowing that he's, on a bit of a hot seat.
We have a job to do. We've worked really hard to recruit the players that we want, that can help us win, and so that's where our focus will be. I've never really been big on most of that, and that's probably also why when we won, again, the most regular season games in school history, I also wasn't around putting a lot of things on social media. We did that. I have a job to do. And so I stay laser focused on what that job is, and how we can do that to the best of our abilities. And a big part of us doing that to the best of our abilities, the biggest part of us doing that to the best of our abilities is the ability to attract players that do things out on the court. That's the biggest role and our biggest ability to have the best chance. I just don't remember a really good team that didn't have players that people thought were good at one point or another. Again, that year we had Talon and Michi ended up both on the all-conference team. Michigan won the national championship last year. They had 3 guys that went in the lottery.
Yeah, when Carolina went to the Final Four, you had 4 guys that ended up having some, at least, more than cups of coffee in the NBA, and you had the Southeastern Conference Player of the Year. So he's not wrong. And what these guys turn into, we'll see. But look, that's the right answer. You're not going to say, hey, I'm scared to death to get fired.
Right. I don't want to lose my job,
I have no idea what I'm going to do if we don't win, at least, say, 8 or 9 conference games. No, you go win the next one.
And most coaches are that answer is kind of in some way, shape, or form. Most coaches go, look, I got a job to do. I'm coaching. I don't look at all that stuff. And you'll also hear these, Jay, which I think today is not truthful. I don't hear it. I tone it out. I don't pay attention. You can't help it today. Whether you or like your buddy goes, hey, bro, I know you don't look at social media, but man, they're killing you. You're on every hot seat around. Right. I mean, I just think it's tough to what they used to call tune it out.
Yeah.
I mean, so he knows, he gets it, and at the end of the day, you know what fixes all this?
Winning.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy. One more cut 4, please, sir. Coach Bob Donewald getting a lot of praise, and we've talked a lot when he was hired that he's got so much experience at professional ball, college ball, global basketball, and this team is going to have a very global feel to it. Here's Coach Paris on how Bob Donewald helped in getting a lot of international kids to Columbia.
The market's a little different, and with getting some guys directly from another country. With one of the additions to our staff, it's like you have an idea of what international connections are, and then we added Bob Donewald to our staff, and this is a guy who's been over there for a large portion of his career as a head coach in a variety of different countries, and then the connections that he has. You see what real international connections look like, international connections that move the needle, and I think probably above all else, I was really impressed with the information, the real information that he was able to get in a very quick manner versus oftentimes with some of the internationals, you kind of get a stock answer and you're wondering, okay, is that really the root of what's happening, or is this what they really mean? And Bob in particular was really able to get to the bottom of some of those things that allowed us to move very, very quickly in a time where, seconds seemed like hours, seemed like days.
I wonder if Bob Donewald, he just knows every great restaurant, national dish, and
probably
all those kind of things.
Probably, my man. I guarantee you, he'd be the guy to take you on a little tour.
Yeah,
he knows what's up.
No, it's and look, basketball in America has been trending this way for a long time. I mean, we could go back to Terry. when guys like Vlade Divac and some of those guys were coming to the United States, Tony Kukoc. Now, I mean, look at the Spurs, with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. And we could go on and on with guys. I mean, Joker right now and Giannis and Wemby. There's just the guys. I mean, the Gasol brothers. I'm going to leave. Yeah, Luka. I mean, I'm going to leave guys out if I'm not careful. And I don't want to do that. But college basketball, we look at what Brad Underwood has done at Illinois. With getting guys. I mean,
Brad Underwood had the quote that was very interesting. He goes, "My job is to go find the best players."
Yeah.
He goes, right now. He said basically the most technically sound players are over in Europe.
Well. Look, they're being, and this isn't a knock on our nation, but I think a lot of people, for as popular as AAU basketball is, a lot of people question if there's if there's nearly enough development at that age and with the amount of time that a lot of these kids spend. Are you really being developed, or are you just kind of out on tour? Yeah,
right.
And I think the latter is more of the answer than the former. Whereas in Europe, that's not what's happening because a lot of these kids are in sports academies. I mean, we think of IMG or Oak Hill and a few others as like luxury boarding schools. Once you've been identified in Europe by age 8, 10, you're in an academy, whether it's basketball, rugby, obviously soccer. Right. I mean, you're in, man. Now you go to school and you get a high school degree or whatever and it's not a GED or some such. I mean, they take it. Listen, Arsenal's got a kid who just turned 16.
Right.
And he had to miss a week because he was taking his exams.
Right. Think about that for a minute.
Okay. I mean, but he's that good. But he's been in the academy since he was 8. I mean, that's what you do. And we just look. We churn out plenty of amazing world-class athletes.
Sure.
But to Brad's point, when it comes to basketball or certain things, you live it, and you have enough time to go to school. But like again, with the AAU circuit, are you really being developed at that age?
And the other thing,
and some coaches probably are.
Yeah, some are, and a lot. It's very controversial. Really quick before we get to break, the other part of this is they are training and drilling these kids in the fundamentals of basketball at an early age. Passing, shooting, dribbling, all these other things. And remember, these aren't twitchy athletes like we have in America, where you can out-athlete your skills.
No, it's development.
It's development.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That's the drive around the SEC. I should do my German accent like I do for Dieter when this one plays. Because right now Germany is losing to Ecuador in the World Cup. It is 2-1 late in the game.
It's like Big Lebowski all over again.
Late in the match. No, Ecuador does lead Germany 2-1, and we're now in the 90th minute. Ivory Coast is leading Curacao 2-0, or 2-0, if you will, in that one. USA plays tonight, 10 o'clock, against Turkey, formerly called Turkey. They asked everybody to stop calling them that in English a couple years ago. I'm fine with that.
Sure. Whatever floats your boat.
I'll be watching. Again, 2 of my daughters asked me if I was going to stay up. I'm like, yes, I'm staying up. It's the American soccer team. It's America. It's the World Cup. They're like, yeah, but Dad, the game doesn't really matter. America's already won the group. I was like, so.
And Dad, you're old. Don't you want to go to bed?
Well, that's true. And yes, I do. I'm a little mad at FIFA. It's FIFA, by the way, not Fox, that scheduled this. Again, it's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern time. When, again, half the nation's population lives in the Eastern time zone. It'll be 5 o'clock in the morning in Turkey. And then at the same time, since it's the way group stage play works, Australia, Paraguay are also in our group, and they play at the same time. It'll be noon tomorrow in Australia, so that's easy, at least in, like, I guess, Eastern Australia. And it'll be 11 o'clock at night in Paraguay. So really hard to have FIFA screw it up any worse, to be quite honest with you.
It's a lack of understanding of maximizing your audience.
And, look, that's good for 7 o'clock. But I was saying, it's not a Wednesday night NBA game in January where you need the crowd to get out there at 7 after work and school. No, this is the World Cup. People make arrangements.
And how many people do you think live in the Eastern time zone?
Well, again, about half the nation. It's over 150 million, Ter.
And again, this ain't hard, Jay.
Yeah.
This is not hard to figure out maximizing audience.
Right.
Not tough.
I know a lot of people live in the other half of the other half lives in the other time zones. I understand that too. So that's half.
Yeah, but you know what?
Half of this nation lives in the Eastern time.
Yeah. So you might want to
just saying.
Tweak it a little bit.
Just saying.
Would be smart.
Yeah.
Right,
just saying. All right. Do you want to internet me here?
Oh, sure. I got to get a little music for you.
Okay.
Well, because it's more fun with the music.
Ask me if I can predict the Ecuador-Germany outcome.
Knowing the soccer guru.
Actually, it's not going to surprise me if Germany
like
finds a way to tie this game up because there's still 6 minutes of stoppage
time. All right, who wins? Germany, Ecuador.
I'm gonna. It'd be fun if Ecuador won. It doesn't matter. Germany's already won their group too, but it'd be cool for Ecuador to beat Germany in the World Cup.
By the way, if Scotland would have won against Brazil, Elijah was killed.
Well, that would have been great, but I got to tell you,
that wouldn't happen.
Well, Scotland made some real defensive wonders.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
And that was going to be a long shot. I mean, Scotland has to play their best game, but when you play a really bad game,
it's not helpful.
You lose to Brazil.
All right, tonight, United States and Turkey.
USA 3-2.
All right, USA 3-2. Paraguay and Australia.
1-1 draw.
Tunisia, Netherlands. Tough one.
Netherlands 4-0.
How about Tunisia getting 6 goals?
Not happening.
Well, I mean, getting it like, in a line.
Oh.
Like points.
Yeah. No, Tunisia's, they're done.
Sweden and Japan.
This one, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, sneaky good game. Best game of the day, I think, in terms of just complete matchup. I want Sweden to win because they've got an Arsenal player, but Japan has a former Arsenal player, so I'm torn. Man. 2-2 draw.
All right, and more importantly, National Dog Show coming up soon.
Okay.
Who you got? Belgian Sheepdog, Pug, or French Bulldog?
The Belgian Sheepdog.
Nice.
They can do stuff. The Pug and the Bulldog, they're great-looking dogs, and they're just fun, but they'll just kind of waddle around. The Sheepdog will be running and catching and doing stuff.
Yeah, Sheepdog will be showing off.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
All right, there you go. That's the most important one.
Absolutely.
Go America.
Yep.
USA, baby. I won't be too bleary-eyed. I'll just wake up late tomorrow. Instead of get up at 6, I'll get up at 7. I'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll survive.
But if we win, I'll be all jacked up watching all the post-game.
Running around partying all night.
Yeah, I won't go to bed until like 2.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll see me tomorrow, Ter.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for you. And for America.
Good deal. Jordan K., thanks. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.